Hello, everyone, and welcome to the fifth European Union Energy Day event. This time round focusing on localizing energy. So basically, this is all about cities and companies teaming up for the local energy transition. I'm Isaac Valero, and I will be your moderator today. We have a very good panel to start with. I will be introducing to the speakers in a second. But let me tell you why this event is important. We have decided that the European Union should take it forward. We have always said that the importance of the local dimension of the clean energy transition cannot be overstated. And it cannot be any more true when municipalities, businesses, mayors, local communities, they push for the transition on the ground, and they also basically hold the fort when sometimes the federal government or national governments do not want to take that fight forward. So, and there have been many numerous cases about that. So we're going to hear a lot of these stories of success, stories of challenge, and stories of superation, stories of overcoming obstacles and making sure that citizens and local communities and businesses team up with really consumers and households. We in the European Union, as you know, we have a number of legislative proposals that basically target the EU-wide dimension, so the entire continent and national governments. But we also have a number of initiatives that are even more important than the EU-wide legislation, such as the Covenant of Mayors, Smart Cities Marketplace, EU cities facilities, the Clean Energy for EU Islands, just to name a few. But also the Coal Regions in Transition Initiative that led to Just Transition Fund. Why is that important? Because it's 18 billion euro just to invest in territories most affected by the transitions towards climate neutrality. With that, I will introduce my distinguished panel today. So we have Gregor Robertson, Global Covenant of Mayors, Global Ambassador and ex-mayor of the beautiful city of Vancouver in Canada. Alison Gilliland, Dublin City Councillor in Ireland. Veronique Willems, Secretary General and Director for Sustainable Development of SME United, so small and medium-sized enterprises. Rafał Trzaskowski, the President of Warsaw and Mayor of the beautiful city of Warsaw where I studied. We also are joining online by the Deputy Mayor of Ghent in Belgium, Ms. Tine Heise. And last but definitely not least, Wolfgang Terbner, Regional Director for Europe of ICLEI, which is the Local Governments for Sustainability Alliance. Without further ado, I'll kick off the discussion. Hopefully it will be a very lively discussion. And I will start with Mr. Robertson. About things that are happening on the ground, things that are sweet spots of areas of cooperation between local municipalities and business to accelerate the transition. Can you give us a couple of examples relating to energy efficiency, renewables, demand response, things that are happening nowhere else?
Sure. First of all, thank you very much. Thank you to the European Commission and EU for making this possible for us to share the stories from the ground in our cities. Just to give you a quick sample, the Global Covenant of Mayors for Climate and Energy is the largest alliance of cities and mayors working on climate action and transitioning energy as aggressively as we can. There are over 13,000 cities globally that are part of the Global Covenant of Mayors. We're very fortunate to have the Mayor of Warsaw as a board member of GCOM, as we call it. We see lots of action in cities, and I would say right off the top, in terms of cities that are leading the pace right now, thankfully the European Commission has funded the 100 climate neutral and smart cities. There are 100 cities in Europe that are now focused on aggressively transitioning to climate neutral by 2030. There's also an urban transition mission, which is GCOM's leading within the mission innovation and clean energy ministerial space. So there are now almost 100 cities there globally that are focused on the most ambitious transition that we can execute basically at a local level. Just to give a couple of quick examples, 78% of the energy that's consumed in the world happens in cities. So the energy transition has to happen in our cities. There's a lot of generation of renewables. The triple up of renewables supply is critical, but the actions that we take within our cities on, first and foremost, energy efficiency, making our buildings more efficient, reducing the load of energy that we need, and then that critical transition to renewables. If we can do that transition within our cities, on our rooftops with solar, with local area or district energy systems that are renewably powered, we take pressure off the big utilities, the transmission of all that electricity into our cities. So cities have a really critical role with energy efficiency, with electrification of everything in our cities, and then with local energy generation and distribution. So in my city, just as a quick example, we hosted the 2010 Winter Olympic Games in Vancouver, and we built a local renewable energy system to basically heat and cool the Olympic Village and now the whole neighborhood part of the city that is surrounding it. That system captures the heat from the sewage system. A couple degrees difference where it's a little bit warmer, and we're able to convert that into cooling and heating for hundreds of buildings within the city. It's technology like that, partnering with the private sector. We need the best innovations that are emerging in terms of local area production, whether it's solar on rooftops, solar hot water, or systems like this at a district or neighborhood level. We need those technologies deployed as soon as possible, and those partnerships with private sector and critical support from federal and state and provincial governments are what enable it to happen. Just as a quick example. Thank you.
A lot of very good examples there, and very good figures as well. Almost 80% of the global energy is consumed in cities, so quite impressive. Let's move now to the beautiful Dublin in Ireland. So Alison Gillinan, Dublin City Councillor. Again, a lot of things happening in Dublin and a lot of things happening in Ireland as well. What sweet spot areas of cooperation? What kind of examples you can show today that just to make sure that everyone understands that this is happening on the ground?
Thank you, and thank you for the invitation to myself and Rafa. As Committee of the Regions, Dublin and Warsaw, we're delighted to be here. We very much welcoming the tripling of renewables, the doubling of energy efficiency, but when it comes to cities and regions and local governments, reps like ourselves, our big question is how do we actually make this happen in practice? And we cannot act alone. We do not have the expertise in solar, in district heating, waste to energy. So invariably, we do partner and we create those public-private partnerships. And that costs money, that investment costs money. I'll give you an example from Dublin. We opened a waste to energy facility in 2017. It cost almost $500 million to build. And we went into a four-way partnership to build that. One is an energy expert company, the other are fund management. And that today now processes 600 tons of waste every year. It feeds 60 megawatts into the national grid, and that powers about 80,000 homes. It's also set up for a district heating scheme. There's a new development we're building right next door to it, almost a new part of our city, and that will go to heat 50,000 residents and businesses in that. But we could not have done that without collaboration. We could have not have done that without both national and private investment as well. So for us, as local authorities, trying to decarbonize the energy at a city level, it requires a lot of talk, a lot of negotiations. Also requires a lot of negotiations at community level. How is this going to impact the immediate community? And one of the conversations Veronique and myself had this morning is, how does a local or a community energy grid interact at national level with the national grid and not have the advantage over other communities when it comes to energy advantage or preventing energy poverty? So that's just one example from Dublin.
That's a very important example of things that are happening in Dublin and everywhere else. And let's move now to the business angle and how SMEs are also helping and teaming up with local partners and communities. So Veronique Willems, Secretary General of SME United. So how can cities and SMEs improve their cooperation? And could other public authorities help facilitate this somehow? What is your experience there?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you also for inviting me. Very interesting exchanges already so far. Maybe briefly also explain what SME United is, because I'm a bit the strange duck in the row here. SME United is an organization of organizations, crafts and SME organizations across Europe. So all the different EU member states and also some non-EU member states who are close to the European Union. And we work with our member organizations to really represent them towards the European institutions and also make sure that they can further build capacity learning from all across the European Union. On energy transition, we are a partner in a project run by DG Energy from the European Commission on Covenant of Companies for Climate and Energy, where we have worked the past 2 years really with companies how we can help them in their energy transition. It's a huge challenge for municipalities, for communities. It's also a huge challenge for small companies to really make that transition towards energy efficiency, renewables, and so on. And so we had a look at how can we best support them. From the point of view of SME United, we have always said, first of all, you need information, you need technical assistance, making sure that you use the right or you choose the right technologies which are adapted for your company. You need funding, and you also need skills. You cannot do anything without skills. And I think with all the 4 points that I mentioned, we can immediately also make a link with the local authorities. We have given that information and advice from the European level. We have worked with energy experts in the consortium. We were there as a network of SME organizations. What we've noticed is that you really also have to take into account the national situation. In certain member countries where we had a focus, there was already a lot available, and as a consequence, organizations were a bit more reluctant to promote another instrument that could support small companies. In other countries, there was less available, and they were still looking for the good practices that would really be tailored to the needs of small companies in their country. So if I look then at a cooperation at local level, municipalities, communities, and small companies, I think that you can really build a win-win. Those small companies who don't have a clue yet, who are not, as my president would say, not yet willing or able, they can get a lot of awareness on the topic and a lot of information and support from their local authority on what is already out there, what are we already doing, what are other companies in my community already doing? Is there specific funding foreseen? Is there specific advice foreseen from the local authority or in combination with my SME organization where I am a member? And on the other hand, the front runners among our constituency, those companies who are developing those new technologies, can also be a very good partner for local authorities to further advance their work and build further on the experience they have. So I think making those local ecosystems and learning also across the European Union and across the globe, I think that's also very interesting. What are the practices that are working, and then discovering together SME community along with local authorities, but this is an interesting practice that is being applied over there. That's something that we would also like to implement in our community, learning from that and being able to transpose that to the local situation and working together on that, I think is a good way forward to put our Green Deal into practice in the next few years at a local level.
Very good. A lot of food for thought there, a lot of bright ideas. And speaking of bright, let's move now to a bright spot of a lighthouse in dark times, or at least in the past, when, and I'm saying this because the Palace of Culture and Science in Warsaw was light up with green colors to celebrate the fifth anniversary of the Paris Agreement back then, and it's a privilege to have the mayor of Warsaw with us today. So, Mr. Trokowski, so again, Warsaw, what is happening? I have been privileged to study in the city, and I've seen the entire transformation, all the public system, electrification, trams. Can you tell us a bit how do you manage and what is happening on the ground in your city?
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. Yes, and it is, you know, a spot which is now full of light because we won the elections and the climate deniers are just packing their baggage as we speak. But the important thing is I'll address the topic itself, because when we talk about the ambition that we have together, of course, we immediately think about the money. And as you've heard from the International Monetary Bank and from all the experts, we need trillions. Not too many people have trillions. And that's why we need to put our heads together. And of course, it is the governments who decide when it comes what to do here at the COP. But for the first time, the governments decided to open themselves to the local and regional governments, and our role has been recognized. There is this wonderful initiative which is called CHAMP, which has been endorsed by so many countries, and our different networks and institutions are visible here, which is important because at the end of the day, I think that there is no other way as to approach the problem together. So if we, the regions, the cities are going to be involved in meeting some of those priorities, if we are going to, our efforts are going to be included in nationally determined contributions, we can actually move the ball forwards. And if we include the business with it, I mean, and if we work together hand in hand, only then we can think about realizing those priorities, because no one can do that by themselves. And of course, you know, when we talk about the magnitude of the challenge, we always say, show me the money, and it is important. And that's why we are fighting for the financial means so that they are actually there, provided. We, in the Committee of the Regions, we have been fighting for a bit of direct funding for the cities, which is happening in the European Union, and hopefully it's going to happen in the world as well. But there are some other elements that are needed if we are to succeed. Not only money, talent, and that has been just mentioned by my colleague, expertise and data. I mean, you cannot do anything without data and expertise. And if we can join our efforts together and start working on exchanging data, on benchmarking, on building the pool of expertise and talent, I think that that's where we can actually move the agenda forwards. And of course, there's also a question of awareness, because a lot of people think that it costs too much. There are a lot of climate deniers who are spending quite a lot of money to convince people that there's nothing to be done. So again, if we put our heads together with business and we spend on awareness campaigns, and each of us does his or her part of the work, we can create those synergies which again can allow us to realize those priorities. Two examples from Warsaw, because of course I could tell you about everything that we do when it comes to the transformation of our city, but that would take us 20 minutes or half an hour. I just wanted to talk about two concrete examples of cooperation with business. Not only in exchanging data, which is of utmost experience, and we do that, but also of simply cooperating on the ground. So there is a scheme available under the Polish law that if someone invests in Poland, then it will also chip in when it comes to infrastructure, okay, which surrounds the investment place. So we started talking to the investors. Okay, if you are recreating it, just don't recreate it with us as it was before, but let's try to recreate it in a new way, which is consistent with our goals. Let's make it green. Let's make it sustainable. And many companies want to do it. And there is a fantastic way of showcasing that and showing the synergies. And another one is we've created this environment fund in Warsaw, because there are many, many companies who come and say, you know, we would like to do something for the city, something greening of the city. We don't want them to do haphazard things that, you know, someone just plants the trees or changes just the surrounding neighborhood. But we just, you know, we have our projects ready, and we tell them, those are the projects, choose, invest, and then of course we're going to, you know, hail your wonderful name around the city, but let's do it in a planned way. So to sum up, I mean, we cannot do it. We cannot do it alone. I mean, no national government will do it alone. No city will do it alone. And if business just do it according to their own priorities, it's not going to be as synergizing as it could be. So that's why this panel, I think, is important, because if we start thinking what to do together, then we can create a situation which is win-win. And I think that this is a life of every politician and every entrepreneur to look for win-win solutions. So once again, thank you for inviting us.
Thank you. It's all about solutions today, and I can assure you that there are many people working for solutions, and one of them is ICLEI. ICLEI is a global network of more than 2,500 local and regional governments and communities committed to sustainable urbanization. So we have our regional director for Europe, Wolfgang Teubner. So Wolfgang, what is the word of ICLEI? What is happening, and how are you teaming up with cities and communities?
Well, I think when we look at the cooperation between business and cities, I think we have to look at two different dimensions. I mean, one is the basically the interaction with the market. So basically when companies are providers of solutions. So here we are definitely looking into the procurement processes, and so we are supporting cities in many ways. So we, on behalf of the Commission, are operating the sustainable smart city marketplace. So we are basically bringing together projects and companies and also investors. We are trying to support bankable projects and to meet them, basically to bring them in the market, to bring them together with financiers. On the other hand side, we are also supporting the procurement process. So we have published a guidance on procurement for smart cities in the smart cities marketplace. And we are also, of course, supporting other processes. So we have, for example, conducted a market dialogue, an online market dialogue for the city of Malmö on circular procurement for EV chargers. And we have also then managed to have a joint statement of procurement or demand of several cities and regions on circular procurement of EV chargers. Also in the in another context of a big buyers initiative, we are basically facilitating communities of interest on particular products. So we have communities of interest for emission-free heavy-duty vehicles. We have one on emission-free building sites and a few other products. So we are basically facilitating this process with and for cities and the interaction with the market, because that's one key point. On the other hand side, of course, we have to look, and I think this was talked about a lot here in the round, as SMEs or enterprises as societal actors in a particular spot. So that means they are acting in the city, they're consuming energy, they are producing waste. So how do these enterprises contribute basically to the development towards zero emission, towards a sustainable development? And I think there we are supporting the initiative for local green deals. So that also means that cities and companies are making deals on particular contributions that the enterprises can make, to the development of the city to make it more climate neutral, to make it more sustainable. So, there are cities. I mean, the city of Aalborg, I think they have about 80 deals with companies on the spot. So I think that is also a good model forward to jointly basically go on this path and to support each other.
Very good. Thank you so much. On support, definitely a lot of very good ideas there, and how we get there. Let's move to the beautiful city of Ghent in Belgium. Ms. Heise, Deputy Mayor of Ghent. Thank you for joining us online. what are the sweet spots? Not only about chocolate. What are the sweet spots of Ghent in terms of renewables, energy efficiency, and different projects?
Thank you for the invitation. I'm glad I can be here, even if it's only on the screen. I will share you some very concrete examples of cooperation. The first example is cooperation on renewable energy. So what is the example? A large photovoltaic installation was built on the roof of a wood importer in the harbor of Ghent. It was commissioned by the city and is built and maintained by the local energy cooperative called Beauvais. We, the city, have set up a power purchase agreement with the energy cooperative. We buy the electricity at a fixed price for 15 years. It is a project that the people of Ghent are supporting. Beauvais raised a total of €700,000 from 750 Ghent citizens, so they are shareholders. The energy cooperative wins. They can build and operate a large solar installation. The wood importer wins. They get a fee for the use of the roof. We, the city, wins. We have a fixed price for our renewable electricity, covering almost 25% of all our consumption. And the citizens of Ghent win because they are shareholders in the projects. So that's my first example. The second example is that in Ghent, we have created a service for our citizens called the Energiecentrale. What is it? It is a one-stop shop. Citizens can get free expert advice about their renovation and apply for loans and technical assistance for basic housing quality and, of course, energy efficiency measures. We make it as easy as possible for people to renovate their houses and become climate neutral. How does it help also local businesses? The experts of the one-stop shop collaborate very closely with contractors, so the small companies that do the actual work, the actual renovation. They have the certainty of a constant flow of well-paid work. It creates many local jobs in construction, at least 600 according to the last calculations. For every euro we invest as a city in a project, at least 10 euros of investments are made by citizens. After almost 10 years of activity, the Energiecentrale has facilitated millions, really millions of euros in investment. And if we only talk about the last 5 years, we calculated we can talk about 30 millions. So 30 millions in local economy. I can give you another example, a totally complete different example. In the harbor of Ghent, we have a steel mill of ArcelorMittal. It's the biggest company in the city with more than 5,000 employees, producing more than 5 billion tons of steel every year. But it's also the biggest CO2 emitters in the country, with over 9 million tons of CO2. In the past, I must say, we as a city thought, what can we do about it? It's all regulated by the European Union. It is an ETS company, so we don't have any role in it. Now we think differently. Thanks to public pressure and mainly thanks to the EU Green Deal, ArcelorMittal Ghent now has a climate action plan. They will be climate neutral by 2050. They made, of course, a calculation. They hired a lot of engineers, drafted technical plans. They are investing a lot of money right now, hundreds of millions of euros. But they didn't put a lot of effort in communication. And that's, of course, very important to also convince the public in Ghent. Nobody knew they were doing it. That's where we pushed them time and time again to tell their story, to get public support for their work, to make the citizens proud of their steel plant. And now, much more than before, they do reach out and explain their plans. Some of you will visit them this afternoon. We as a city also need them to communicate. We need their story to be able to defend their plans. Because, of course, we want to keep the steel production here in Ghent. The climate will not be helped if they relocate. So it's, of course, pushing for communication, also really challenge them is not the only thing we do for ETS companies. We also work as an energy broker. We work together with universities so that research for universities can be included and so on. So that there are three very concrete, very different examples of cooperation between the city, citizens and businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. Three concrete examples. And we still have 6 minutes and 15 seconds, and I am very determined to make the best use of our time. So we have heard a lot of things about enhancing the public-private cooperation. So from access to funding, planning, support. As you know, the EU has been championing a global pledge on renewables and energy efficiency with more than 123, we'll get to 130, but 123 countries already on board, and communities and local municipalities and SMEs will have definitely a big role in that. Now, my question is, and it's an open question to all of you, so what lessons can be drawn from your experiences, and how can they be scaled up? What is the main lesson of all the beautiful projects? I'm sure that you have a lot of sweet spots, but it was not easy to get there. Please, go ahead.
Well, I think that the most important thing is to have a level playing field and a clear strategy. And I think that that's where the European Commission comes, the European Union, all of our institutions, because if we have a clear regulatory framework for our cooperation, and then if we have, as we do have in Warsaw, a clear urban strategy of achieving these goals, then it's much easier to simply create that synergy and cooperate together. So as long as we have a clear pathway towards what we want to do, and we advertise it, and we also ask for inputs from anyone who cares to listen, that's the way forward. As simple as that, because I mean, we can talk about sweet spots, but we are there to actually create the right conditions for that cooperation.
Please.
Yes, maybe from the SME point of view, what we have seen the past few years was a lot of EU legislation coming towards the companies, a bit of an avalanche. Some of them are really overwhelmed. So in our view, a lot of stick, not a lot of carrots. And I think it's very important now that we really also turn that Green Deal, as has been said already a few times, also into that growth plan. And for me, it's putting the carrot next or even in front of the stick, showing companies that they can get there, showing the path, how they can do it, and the local cooperation is certainly a key point for that.
Very good. Sense of direction, carrots, hopefully no more sticks. Dublin.
Collaboration.
Collaboration.
I really do think we talk a lot about public-private partnership, but there's also community partnership. Small, big companies, people who have expertise, that might be technical expertise, people who know how to put a financial package together so it's a win-win. So you have that energy win, you have a community win, and it's fair and equitable.
Very good. Please.
I would say use the opportunity of procurement. There's power in procurement also for the cooperation. Be innovative, be in dialogue, use the dialogue modus, so the pre-procurement dialogues to find better solutions, to find innovative solutions, so to work together on this. And secondly, I would say, collaborate based on clear agreements, and bring the city community, the community of businesses together in your city, but work on clear, tangible goals and agreements with them, and not just talk.
Well, strongly agree with everything that's been said here in terms of those key pieces to deliver. I would just add to that, it's cities are on the front lines and basically living laboratories, so cities can move faster. I think we had a lot of success, the procurement piece, like creating opportunities for local businesses to bid on smaller projects, demonstrate their technology, and then be able to scale that to other cities. So there's lots of successful examples in Dublin and Warsaw, Vancouver, other cities. so cities don't have to reinvent this. They're great examples from Global Covenant of Mayors can share, ICLE can share. Assistance for that. We do need more funding from all levels of government to really make sure this goes. But I think the overarching message is this is going to save people money. It's going to save energy costs. For the long term, this is a win in terms of financial and economic success, and it creates jobs. So I think that messaging and the engagement, and Ghent was a great example, the one-stop shop, make it easy for people, get them engaged. We had huge, it was the most popular, it's not easy to be popular politically as a mayor all the time. I would say the green initiatives were what people supported the most, because everyone knows we got to do this stuff, and if cities can enable that and engage people and use really compelling language, then we're going to get there a lot faster.
Very good. Support, Carlos, collaboration, frontline. We have 1 minute left, and I just wanted to provoke a little bit the conversation. What do we do for countries or for cities that are on the front line when the national and the federal governments do not want to take this forward? What has happened, for example, what the biggest pavilion in the COP after Marrakesh, I think it was in Bonn, the biggest pavilion was the We Remain pavilion. So basically, the cities, the communities of the United States saying, we're still here. What can we do in these kind of occasions? Let me start with Rafa because he has a very good example.
I'm just eager. I'm so eager to speak because I've been there for the past 8 years. So I mean, for the past 5 years as a mayor, I mean that's why we engage in all of those institutions and in all of those networks, because they help us out in those difficult times where we are under attack from the central government and when the propaganda is trying to destroy some of our ideas when it comes to green energy and so on and so forth. No one believes me when I say it, but I'm from the EPP. People think that I'm a crazy leftist because that's how I've been branded by my national government. That's why we need to collaborate. That's why we need to benchmark, because we can actually show the success to the people. That's why we need to raise awareness. If we do it with business, if we do it with all of our colleagues, then it's a winning argument. That's what I was showing. Look what happened in Paris. Look what happened in London. When people were asking me, why do you do it in Warsaw? I was asking them, what is your favorite city to go to? And they say Paris, Barcelona, New York. And I said, all of them were transformed in the past few years. And when you show the examples, show how it's been done, that's the winning argument.
And we still have 1 minute left. Let me just turn to Tina Heise in Ghent. Again, a lot of things happening in the local government, perhaps in some cases not at the federal government. So how are you taking this forward?
Well, we have to, I totally agree that we have to work together as cities to push the other authorities further, because we can do a lot at city level, but of course, legislation on the Flemish region, because in our case, it's rather the Flemish region that is not very ambitious. So we have to work together and push them, and also have direct contact with the Commission, European Commission at the European level, because sometimes we can work together and we can also explain what the barriers are. So I really strongly believe that if we work together as cities, we know the barriers, that we can go a long way forward. And even if our government is not ambitious enough, we can do more and still push them, push them, push them.
Fantastic. Push that, push that, push that. With this, I think we have pushed the limits to the panel today. So thank you so much for your very lively discussions, your insightful comments. And please, everyone, bear with us. We still have a second panel on a very interesting topic on the public sector perspective. So how can we take this forward? 6 minutes, we change mics, we mic up, and then off we go. Thank you so much.
And we are standing in the photovoltaic park that we made to help the citizens of Halki and also the community to have zero electricity bills.
Normally I bill by 7,000 euro, but I bill only 498 euro. This present.
My opinion is for the community, of course, is the best for the island. So, and our prices, it get more or less when we don't have too much electricity.
This electric taxi in Chalki and first one in Greece.
You can send in real time. Even the cardiologist can hear the heartbeats of the patient in real time. This cannot be accomplished without 5G. So for a newly graduate doctor, this is a huge help.
Πριν περίπου 2 μέρες ότι έχει ξεκινήσει και από τον υπόλοιπο κόσμο αυτό να διαδίδεται και την άλλη εβδομάδα θα δεχτούμε κόσμο από την Νότια Κορέα η οποία θα έρθει να εξετάσει, θα έρθουν αξιωματούχοι, κρατικοί αξιωματούχοι να εξετάσουν όλο αυτό το θαύμα της Χάλκης για να δουν πώς μπορούν να το εφαρμόσουν στα δικά τους 2.000 νησιά που έχουν ως χώρα.
This small community deep in the south of Europe is thrilled to share its experience, but also to hear similar experiences from elsewhere that could enrich this venture into energy democracy and new technologies. Welcome to Chalki.
And we are standing in the photovoltaic park that we made to help the citizens of Chalki and also the community to have zero electricity bills.
Normally I bill by 7,000 euro, but I bill only 498 euro. This present.
My opinion is for the community, of course, is the best for the island. So, and our prices, it get more or less when we don't have too much electricity.
This electric taxi in Chalki and first one in Greece.
You can send in real time. Even the cardiologist can hear the heartbeats of the patient in real time. This cannot be accomplished without 5G. So for a newly graduate doctor, this is a huge help.
Πριν περίπου 2 μέρες ότι έχει ξεκινήσει και από τον υπόλοιπο κόσμο αυτό να διαδίδεται και την άλλη εβδομάδα θα δεχτούμε κόσμο από την Νότια Κορέα η οποία θα έρθει να εξετάσει, θα έρθουν αξιωματούχοι, κρατικοί αξιωματούχοι να εξετάσουν όλο αυτό το θαύμα της Χάλκης για να δουν πώς μπορούν να το εφαρμόσουν στα δικά τους 2.000 νησιά που έχουν ως χώρα.
This small community deep in the south of Europe is thrilled to share its experience, but also to hear similar experiences from elsewhere that could enrich this venture into energy democracy and new technologies. Welcome to Chalki.
And we are standing in the photovoltaic park that we made to help the citizens of Halki and also the community to have zero electricity bills.
Normally I bill by 7,000 euro, but I bill only 498 euro. This present.
My opinion is for the community, of course, is the best for the island. So, and our prices, it get more or less when we don't have too much electricity.
This electric taxi in Halki and first one in Greece.
You can send in real time. Even the cardiologist can hear the heartbeats of the patient in real time. This cannot be accomplished without 5G. So for a newly graduate doctor, this is a huge help.
Πριν περίπου 2 μέρες ότι έχει ξεκινήσει και από τον υπόλοιπο κόσμο αυτό να διαδίδεται και την άλλη εβδομάδα θα δεχτούμε κόσμο από την Νότια Κορέα η οποία θα έρθει να εξετάσει, θα έρθουν αξιωματούχοι, κρατικοί αξιωματούχοι να εξετάσουν όλο αυτό το θαύμα της Χάλκης για να δουν πώς μπορούν να το εφαρμόσουν στα δικά τους 2.000 νησιά που έχουν ως χώρα.
This small community deep in the south of Europe is thrilled to share its experience, but also to hear similar experiences from elsewhere that could enrich this venture into energy democracy and new technologies. Welcome to Halki.
And we're ready to go. So welcome back, everyone, to the second panel. For me, the wait was a bit too long because I wanted to kick off as soon as possible with all the great ideas that I'm sure that will inspire a lot of people in this room and for all those followers online. You are following the event organized by the European Union on localizing energy, cities and companies teaming up for the local energy transition. So we're in the second panel discussing the public sector perspective and how governments and companies and cities and communities and territories all across the world are taking the energy transition forward. I have a very distinguished panel here, and I will introduce you in a second, but just to pick up where we left it in panel one, almost 80% of global energy is consumed in cities. Cities, communities, autonomous communities, regions, they are in the front line. Not only when national governments or federal governments do not want to take the lead, but also because they are the ones being accountable to the citizens and households and voters at the end of the day. So we have many very good examples, and I want to start introducing the panel today. Felipe Araujo, Vice Mayor of the beautiful city of Porto in Portugal. We have Mr. Jorge Paradela, President of the Regional Government of Andalusia in Spain. Regional Minister. Very good. That's what it says here, but so Regional Minister, definitely. Then Malgosia Bertosik, Deputy CEO of Wind Europe. Carolina Basualdo, Mayor of Despeñaperros in the beautiful country of Argentina. And last but not least, Mr. Julian Domac, Managing Director, Northwest Croatia Regional Energy Agency, and on top of that, board member of the European Covenant of Mayors. So let me start with the Vice Mayor of Porto. Again, what is what are the sweet spots of Porto? Many of them, definitely, but what is Porto doing to push the energy transition forward?
Very good. Well, thanks for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here, and especially in this topic that has a lot to how we would accomplish the targets that we are setting as Europeans, but also at the global level. Well, first of all, I was thinking what I could mention this morning, and definitely I will look to 4 different spots. First of all, everyone has to be a part of it in a city. So the effort has to be for everyone, and everyone has to know the targets. We launched the Porto Climate Pact, which is an invitation that we sent to everyone in the city to be involved as a compromise to the future, so to the targets that the city has. So the collective compromising is very, very important in order to have everyone on board and to set the dream. I think we have been, the cities have been very well during the last years because they have been setting the targets and even pushing the European Commission and national governments. And this is something that I think even we see the companies acting that are involved in Porto Climate Pact, showing in their presentations and in their strategies the Porto Climate Pact. So they really see the city and the targets that we have set as something that they also belong. They also have to be a part of it. The second one, and I already heard Tina from Ghent mention it, is we need to help the citizens and the companies. Because most of them, we think that since we know these topics, that everyone knows about what to do in terms of energy, and they don't know. The truth is that. So we also set the Porto Energy Hub, that is a one-stop shop, that is, has private consultation places and spaces where people can go and companies can go, and we can offer technical support and help them in order to search for the right financial, the funds, what they can do in terms of it. And even we even got further, and right now in the city of Porto, if you are installing photovoltaic panels, if you are from a company or even a citizen in their homes, we will share the cost with them, especially reducing the property tax to help them to install and to accelerate this transition. The third one is innovation and the public-private partnerships. And we have seen in terms of energy, the ESCO models and a lot of things that are working well on energy production, let's say projects, but we have to go further, and we need to, for the envelope of the buildings, how we can even promote better financial support to be also something that is bankable in order to cope for the biggest part of the emissions that cities has, that is related with the households, and how we can make them more efficient. And for that is very, very important, but innovation goes beyond that, and the public partnerships. I already heard about closing the circles inside of the city, so the circular economy, how we can even have the new ideas from the companies promoting this circularity and in the city. And the third and fourth one, and to finish, is a critical area that I already heard here mentioning, is related with data sharing and open data. And this is very, very important. If we want to change the way we produce energy, if we want to foster energy communities, if we want really to have the public and private, for example, participating in energy communities, data is critical. And data not only for energy, data for mobility, data for many other aspects, and city data, of course, is critical in order to foster and to achieve this. And we have been working in urban platforms and many other aspects. I would not go into detail, but they are very important in the next future if we want a digital transition to help us on the climate transition that we need to achieve.
Thank you very much. And staying in the Iberian Peninsula, if there is a region that has been on the bright spot over the last few years for pushing the clean energy transition forward, that has been the beautiful region of Andalusia. So the regional minister for industry, energy and mining of Andalusia, a region blessed with sun and wind, and a region blessed with many other endowments. So how is the region taking it forward? How is the clean energy transition going over there?
Thank you very much. First of all, thanks for having us. It's a pleasure to be here at COP28 in this side event of the European Union. We always like to say that Europeans are facing multiple challenges. No? So we have to make the transition to a green and digital economy. We're facing fierce competition from other markets. We are facing an increasingly evident labor market mismatch. And then, of course, regulatory complexity. But there's one that we all share, and it is related to climate change, which has different phases. In our case, its main phase, its main manifestation is the 4-year-long drought that we are experimenting. No? So climate change is something we all need to address together. No? And in that sense, what I want to transmit, the focus idea would be that Andalusia wants to play a leading role in these challenges. No? Europe wants to reindustrialize itself through the use of clean technologies, and Andalusia wants to play this game. Andalusia wants to become a leader in Europe's green industry. Let me provide a few examples. The Green Hydrogen Valley of Andalusia will produce over 300,000 tons of green hydrogen annually to power a new marine corridor connecting the south and the north of Europe. Andalusia is already a prominent producer of sustainable aviation fuels. Also, the largest cargo shipping company in the world just announced Andalusia will be its base to fully decarbonize their fleet using green methanol. Or in connection with the circular economy, we are building a major plant to recover electronic waste, 60,000 tons per year of electronic waste, in order to recover the metals, which are also critical to the energy transition. No? So most of these initiatives, the way we proceed with them is they are processed by a high-performing team of senior officials. So the idea is to accelerate permitting as much as possible. For example, the one I mentioned about the circular economy, it came through all the permitting process in just 6 months, which is kind of record. We are currently processing around 1,200 renewable energy projects. They represent almost 20 gigawatts of installed capacity. 11 gigawatts already have construction permits. And those will be added to another 11 gigawatts, which we already have up and running. So that would make it already like a feasible 22 gigawatts. No? But we also need to make the transition happen at the citizen level. So we need to facilitate the transition for our citizens and SMEs. And I'd like to point out that we have multiplied by a factor of 100 self-consumption installations in Andalusia in just 5 years. So we went for barely 7 megawatts installed to 800 megawatts in just 5 years, which is important because we need to make sure that our citizens see the benefits of this transition firsthand. No? So in our view, clean energy at competitive prices is the best asset, the best lever that we have to industrialize Andalusia. And it's also becoming a key investment location factor. So there are lots of industrial projects which are coming to us because of this idea. They are looking for clean energy at competitive prices. No? So that's already happening. No? And as a final note, since you mentioned, I'm also in charge of the mining remit. Andalusia accounts for 90% of the metallic mining production value in Spain. So we have a lot of copper, but also another 17 out of the 30 critical minerals identified by the European Union. So we're also dedicating a lot of time and energy to speed up permitting processes related to mining, because we want to help Europe also. We want to contribute to Europe's effort around strategic autonomy. No? So close by saying that Andalusia wants to become a leader in the green energy transition, and therefore we can contribute to Europeans' efforts. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jorge. Definitely, critical minerals is going to be, if it's not already, absolutely key if we are to embark in a key energy transition. And as you mentioned, clean energy and competitive prices is the key to reindustrialization. And I would like to turn to Malgosia Bartosik, because she represents the Wind Europe industry. and definitely wind. It had turbulent winds lately, but it is helping with the reindustrialization of Europe. Malgosia is Deputy CEO of Wind Europe. Malgosia, how are you helping local governments and communities to reindustrialize?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me at this panel. I feel a bit like a stranger, but I hope that I have a project that is really uniting all of us and all our challenges that I would like to talk to you about. First, look, let me zoom out for a moment. When we talk about localizing energy, it is very new. It is a huge change. Not long ago, people, the usual average citizens, they would not know where the energy was coming from, where was it produced, from what. Yeah, that was not part of a big general public discussion. Now everything has changed. So we have to realize that this is a really big transformation, a really big change, and we need to make sure that we get people on board. Otherwise, this change is not going to happen. I represent the wind sector, so you probably, all of you are familiar with the challenge that is called NIMBYs, which means not in my backyard. So, but then when we look at it, when we look at this challenge, knowing that when we do surveys, there is a very, very big support for renewables, for the transition for wind, is around 85% in the EU. Then you think about the NIMBYs, right? So on one hand, we have a problem with not in my backyard. On the other hand, we see that there is a huge support. So we have to realize that while the cities are the big consumer of electricity, the development of those projects are taking place on the regional level, in small municipalities, in rural areas. And those are so when we say that we need to get people on board, are those the people that we have to make sure we communicate with? Yeah. Here with me today, I have Jacob. Jacob, he's sitting there. He's from one of the Danish municipalities, and he is one hero who really spent a lot of time on top of his work. You remember probably pictures of thousands of folders when you ask actually for a permit for a wind project. Jacob, on top of his work with the folders, he spent days, weeks, months with us to look at the permitting process, to look at the communities, to share with us his hands-on experience to understand actually what is the problem. And without understanding what is the problem, we won't be able to develop the right solutions. We won't be able to engage the communities in the right manner. So what we did, knowing that that no one likes to have a big infrastructure project on the back of their house. Yeah, we're moving outside the city because we want to have a beautiful, peaceful life there. Yeah, but still, we have roads, highways, supermarkets that are being built, and it's happening, right? So what can we do to make sure that we also have the big wind or solar projects, but with the community support? And Jacob was really instrumental to help us to understand that. And then we teamed up with a team of my colleagues here from AWS. AWS is Amazon Web Services. You know Amazon probably from just buying online products, but they are also the biggest provider of cloud and digital solutions to public administration. They are also the largest consumer and buyer of clean electricity. So before we were talking a lot about win-win-win situations, and here I represent this great case study where I feel we created a win-win-win situation. It's about win for the community, that we have an online digital tool that helps engage the community at a very early moment in a very transparent way. It helps Jacob, the permitting agent, to deal with the permitting much faster. So now that Jacob is telling us why we tested the product, that he can do 3 times more projects at the same time, just because it's so transparent. And then we have a technology partner that really, we're using the best practices. Instead of just developing something on our own from the scratch, top down, we've done it bottom up, with people that are dealing with the challenge every day, with best technology partner, with AWS and Accenture, and we have a solution that really can be game-changing in terms of engaging communities and getting the support for the wind for the big projects. And actually, it's not about wind only. It can be for any permitting project. It can be for your house extension, the tool that we have developed. So be very happy to talk to anyone who would be interested about it.
A lot of win-win solutions there. Thank you so much for putting them forward and raising them. I'm also now very happy that we're moving to the other side of the Atlantic. So this is not only about European mayors, it's also, or communities, it's global. It's a global movement. We had the ex-mayor of Vancouver, and now with us we have the mayor of Despeñaderos in the beautiful province of Córdoba in Argentina. So the mayor of Despeñaderos will be intervening in Spanish, so if you can just switch from 0 to 1. And Carolina, por favor.
Bueno, agradecer en primer lugar a la Unión Europea esta posibilidad y al GCOM. Yo represento al Foro de Alcaldes del GCOM por América Latina y poder tener la posibilidad, las ciudades de América Latina, de poder estar compartiendo este panel, pero sobre todo también pensando el doble desafío que tenemos en América Latina de avanzar en la transición energética, pero además de tratar de trabajar para que en nuestras poblaciones las consecuencias climáticas no profundicen aún las desigualdades sociales que atravesamos en América Latina. Sumado a un contexto político donde algunos países a nivel nacional no logramos trabajar y los gobiernos locales somos los que tomamos la bandera del cambio climático. Y en esta cumbre y en esta COP, donde por primera vez los gobiernos locales tenemos una silla, un espacio para poder contar lo que sucede, pero para también buscar financiamiento de manera directa, creo que es muy importante para avanzar y avanzar más rápido en el cambio climático. Contarles que nuestra provincia, y puntuando, haciendo hincapié también en lo que decían, en las consecuencias del cambio climático, Argentina en la última sequía perdió 21 millones de dólares, que representa el 3% del PBI del país. Mi provincia es la principal productora de maíz, soja y leche de la República Argentina. Y en ese sentido somos una ciudad agrícola y en el intercambio del trabajo con el sector privado estamos trabajando con una empresa que se llama el Grupo Dos Ríos, que es una empresa que tiene agro, que tiene ganadería, en la transición energética hacia el biodiesel. Se produce con la soja. Estamos avanzando en una planta que va a producir el biodiesel para la producción, no solamente de la planta, de la empresa, sino de todo el combustible que consume la flota municipal, pero queremos ir un paso más y todos los productores agropecuarios de nuestra región tomen el biodiesel y de esta manera avanzar en fomentar el autoconsumo de biodiesel, disminuir los combustibles fósiles y generar desarrollo local con empleo verde. Esto también es posible gracias a que hay bancos que acompañan a las empresas y a los municipios en esta inversión y en nuestro caso también al gobierno provincial, que es el gobierno de la provincia de Córdoba, que tiene un programa que se llama Bio Córdoba, en el cual logramos trabajar el sector privado, los municipios y el capital privado. Creemos importante avanzar en esto y contarles también otra experiencia de 25 ciudades en la zona metropolitana de la que nosotros somos parte, que es Cormecor, que es el ente donde hacemos el tratamiento de residuos, que convertimos ese ente donde iba la basura en el primer parque de economía regional de la República Argentina, donde con la empresa de energía eléctrica del gobierno provincial estamos trabajando para producir biogás, por primera vez también en Córdoba, con una inversión de más de 4,5 millones de dólares. Volviendo otra vez a lo local, también trabajamos con la transición energética en lo solar, con las pymes, dándoles disminución de las tasas municipales, porque creemos que es importante avanzar en ese sentido. Y contar también dos experiencias que tienen que ver con lo público y lo privado y la red de los municipios. En Argentina existe la RAMCC, la Red Argentina de Municipios frente al Cambio Climático, donde para esta transición energética conformamos un fideicomiso, los municipios para las compras, que lo mencionaba también la gente de ICLEI, que nos permite comprar de manera más económica, pero para avanzar en la transición energética. Y también con el sector privado y esta red estamos trabajando a la huella de carbono, el sello ALPA, que permite que cada empresa que toma y mide su huella de carbono y su plan de acción vuelve en un proyecto de triple impacto social en cada una de las ciudades y las comunidades. Creo que esto es importante y es una herramienta que hemos encontrado los municipios, las ciudades, que cuando no hay apoyo del gobierno nacional para avanzar más rápido en la transición energética, entre los municipios y con el gobierno, en nuestro caso de la provincia de Córdoba, podemos avanzar más rápido con el programa Bio Córdoba o con la transición energética. Y también el trabajo con las universidades, esto que hablábamos de la importancia de tener los datos. Estamos también trabajando con la Universidad Nacional de Córdoba en un proyecto de producción de flores que tiene que ver con la transición energética a través de la producción fotovoltaica y en ese sentido creo que tenemos que seguir avanzando con la academia y con los distintos entes que podamos avanzar de manera más rápida y más veloz porque hay miles de ciudades en América Latina que están trabajando y estos espacios nos permiten poder visibilizar ese trabajo y avanzar de manera más rápida buscando financiamiento.
Muchísimas gracias. A lot of food for thought, never better said. A lot of biodiesel, a lot of engagement by the province of Córdoba when other parts of the country perhaps are not, but they're definitely pushing the reindustrialization forward through the clean energy transition. And this is also what is happening in other places of Europe now coming back to the other side of the Atlantic. So in Croatia, so if you look at the map of Croatia, the Northwest Regional Energy Agency has a lot of very good examples to tell. And that's why Julij Domac is here today to basically illustrate with a couple of examples what is happening in that part of the world.
Thank you very much, and well, good day, everybody. Yeah, a lot is happening. Well, the same like in other European regions. For the city of Zagreb, we launched a massive solar program. So, well, sooner or later, all the public buildings will have solar roofs. It's becoming obligatory, like in some other European cities. And yes, it's a change for reindustrialization that's particularly important for small economies like Croatia, although we are part of the EU. And I would like to comment, well, when coming here, I shared with my colleagues at home, well, I'm going to COP conference in Dubai, and the reaction was, well, what are you doing in Dubai? Well, they're producing oil. Why climate conference in Dubai? Well, those of us who've been here before, you can see the difference. So you can see what can be done in a city in 20 years, well, with a lot of money, obviously, but with a strong vision and a lot of efforts. And, well, we in Europe, we do have sun and wind. Well, I visited your plants in Andalusia and in Portugal, of course. And that can be our oil. And we do have a green vision. We have a Green Deal as a vision. That's a magnificent vision. It's a long-term vision of Europe. I think we have money as well. We have the vision, we have the money, and we should work together to achieve that. And obviously, with all that efforts, we can transform the European cities and regions. Well, we are doing something in Zagreb, you are doing something in Portugal, in Andalusia. I visited your cities as well. But that should be the idea, the food of thought of today. With the vision, with the money, with the joint effort, we can really make that change. And I think this is why it was good to come here in Dubai, and this is why it's good to discuss renewables and green transformation here in Dubai as well.
We're very happy that you're here in Dubai as well. So that's definitely part of the solution, being here, discussing, and showcasing the good examples. We still have a bit less than 10 minutes, and I want to kick off a very lively discussion with our 5 panelists. So basically, we've been talking about when there is inaction in some parts of the government, you take the action. And this is what is happening all over the world, be it in Spain, Portugal, Croatia, Argentina, or across the entire European Union. So what do you think that for those who are members of the European Union, should the European Union doing? And in Latin America, for example, what else the governments, supranational, international institutions should be doing to help facilitate your work? Who wants to kick off? You want to kick off?
Well,
please,
and
then
we'll
go to Malgos. Yeah,
I can start because after a few years being deputy mayor in city, and I can talk a little bit about the last decade of what we've been doing as Europeans. And to be honest, before the Green Deal, there was a bit of There was no specific strategy. We are talking about climate, we are talking about the things that we had to change, but there was not a focus on what the targets, what we would like to achieve. And to be honest, I think that happened due to a lot about what cities have pushed at that moment. And now everyone is talking about cities much more than in the past. So in the past it was a lot related with national governments, and now we are talking about more about regions, about cities, and I'm glad that we are hearing also from other places, not only in Europe, this kind of pushing the cities, because in reality it's where people are living, is where the problems, most of the problems are. It's where we need to change the paradigm, and definitely what we need to do in the future is a lot related what cities could do. And for that, the connection between, at European level, the connection between the European Union, the European Commission, and cities has to be strengthened. So that's definitely something that we need to continue, is to strengthen this link, and to have even the possibility of financing specific projects in cities, aligned with national strategy, of course, but directly to cities where we need to change, and I'm hearing so many projects related with this. We need to produce energy in our cities, and especially we need to produce because in a few years we will be able to storage the energy. So the efficiency that we would be able to accomplish in the future will be much higher than it is today. So there is a lot that we can do, and a lot that the alignment between the institutions is needed in order to meet the targets.
Alignment of the institutions, that's definitely clear. I think I have Malgosia and then Jorge. You ask for the floor first, and then I go to Jorge, and then I go to you. That okay? Very good.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank you. So I'll be fast. I think the EU and the European Commission is doing really a great job creating this platform where we can all exchange and learn from each other. The time is really running, the clock is ticking, and we really don't have time to make mistakes. So we can learn from each other and avoid mistakes, really exchange on best practices. We can simply do things faster and avoid repeating the same mistakes. Sometimes I think it would be great if the Commission could be more practical, and you would see. Again, let me come back to this permitting challenge, because for like all the different projects that we discussed here, we need to have a permit. Yeah, we need to talk. We need to get someone to run the whole consulting process with all the stakeholders that needs to be involved in order to do it in the right manner, and it takes a lot of time. Sending hundreds of papers on guide how to do it, how to make it faster, will often not do the trick. So now I think it's very important that we don't only focus on communicating about it and telling people how to do it, but also giving them the tools how to do it. And we like to say it's about giving the rules, which is great. We need to have rules, but we also need tools. And to summarize, we have amazing experience really developing this tool with where we were able to bring the partners from the public space, from the private space, and we were just facilitating the whole process. When you have a huge challenge, team up with the best. Team up with people that know how to do it. And when we think about the world that we live in, when you have your watch is telling you what to do, what to eat in order to stay healthy. When you have robots doing the most sophisticated medical operations, right? Drones coming and bringing your takeaway food to your house, yeah. And still, then when we talk about municipalities, when we talk about public administration, we see huge amount of papers and the human behind it that needs to do all the boring stuff. And if you spend time doing boring stuff, you don't have time to use the human, effort and the human skills for the human interactions. And at the end, they are humans that will decide whether we will, win over the challenge that we have or lose the battle.
Definitely, rules and tools, a lot of them, and one of them is permitting, and the wind package that the Commission unveiled not a while ago was precisely targeting that and speeding up permitting. Jorge, what is happening in Andalusia, and how can we strengthen the partnership at European level?
Yes, I wanted to say that there's a common message in this roundtable, and probably also in the first one, which is around the idea of regions and cities having a stronger voice in all these challenges. So we need to make sure the mechanisms are put in place to send that message across. Things happen at regional and city level. One thing where we are putting a lot of effort in Andalusia is in explaining the benefits of renewable energy. So we think there's a lot of work to do around messaging and communications. So we've been the first region in Spain to come up with a communications campaign around the benefits of renewable energy. So it's a multimedia campaign which explains the job opportunities, the talent development opportunities, but also the competitiveness SMEs can achieve through self-consumption, PPAs, and so on. And also, of course, about climate change. So also messages for for ecologists. Let's name them that way. No? So a multi-layer, multimedia campaign around that effort. And we also like to showcase the examples of municipalities that are being able to change their budgets, basically, and the services they provide to their communities, thanks to the taxes and the licensing taxes that they achieve, that they gather through energy projects. No? So we have specific examples of municipalities that are eliminating some taxes or that are being able to build new infrastructure and provide new services to their communities through these new sources of income. So all in all, for us, we're putting a lot of emphasis in explaining how we do things, that this is not about choosing. You don't have to, it's not a dilemma between economic development and biodiversity or respect for nature and those issues. The two things can go hand in hand. We have a really demanding and transparent permitting process that makes sure that the two challenges go hand in hand. And while we fight for climate change, we also respect historical patrimony and also nature and so on. No? So we're putting a lot of effort around that area.
Explaining the benefits and communicating, extremely key and important to gather support from the citizens and the local community. Without them, this is not happening. How do you explain the benefits in Croatia? You ask for the floor first, and then I go to Carolina.
Yeah, well, I think cities in Croatia and also regions in Europe, we have the brightest examples. I think, well, as a European, I'm quite proud of what European, Croatian and European cities and regions are doing. But, well, I just wanted to share one information from this morning. So in the Netherlands, for example, there are more solar panels than in the whole of Africa. So whatever we do in Zagreb, in Porto, in Seville, it won't be enough if we don't have a big picture and if we don't push forward the development globally. So that would be my final thought.
And Carolina, globally, and in the context of Latin America.
En América Latina creo que necesitamos legislación nacional que acompañe no solamente la voluntad de los gobiernos provinciales que está avanzando en transición energética, pero también creo que las empresas hoy, por las normativas de la Unión Europea y para comercializar, están haciendo un proceso inverso de buscar como aliado a los gobiernos locales para hacer esa transición y permitirles de manera más rápida es el camino, el puente que ven hoy el gobierno local para trabajar de manera coordinada, para poder comercializar con la Unión Europea, y eso lo vemos como una ventaja en la voluntad del capital privado para avanzar, pero creo que necesitamos normativas más claras que nos permitan hablar de mercado de carbono, de poder hablar de transición energética para avanzar de manera más rápida los gobiernos locales frente al cambio climático.
Thank you very much, Carolina. And thank you very much to all the panelists for the very clear interventions, the examples, the illustration of basically that is happening and is happening on the ground. And with that, we'll close the event for today. So thank you, everyone, for joining us, and also all our viewers online. I understand that this has been one of the most watched EU Energy Days, so thanks to the very good panelists. And with that, we conclude today, and I thank you all.